Hey guys, I am so excited. I have an incredibly exciting story to tell you about how the author of the foreword for my upcoming book, see if I can cover it up enough, how the author of the foreword came to be. And you guys, hopefully you saw the email last week where we announced the cover art of the book. This isn't the real book. Make sure I cover that up well. This is just the fake photo prop book. I was joking. I wrote an entire book about all the reasons not to pray the rosary. Haha. Okay. But you know that I've written this book and it has been a long time coming. If you've ever written anything, you know how these like enormous projects just take up such an enormous part of your life for such a long time. So of course, as I was writing, I was thinking about who might write the foreword. And I had somebody in mind who was kind of a pie in the sky, like, what do they say? Batting out of my league or whatever, like, whatever. This idea of who I really wanted to write. And just way out of my league, for sure. So when I got the book finished, I asked Ascension who they thought should write the foreword, and they suggested somebody who was on my short list, a priest who I really love and somebody connected with Ascension and who was a very natural fit for this project, and reached out to him, and fortunately, he wasn't able to do it. And so, of course, a little disappointed, but I thought, well, this is my shot. I'm going to ask that author who is way out of my league. And this is somebody who not only was an important part of writing this book, but somebody who's been an important part of my Christian journey. Somebody who I kind of joke, so my husband and I grew up in youth group together, and that's kind of where our love story began. And most couples have like the song that they fell in love with or the soundtrack or something that they kind of fell in love to. And for my husband and I, it was this person's tapes. And yes, they were tapes. That's how old we are. And so this is somebody who I've always looked up to, somebody whose books have quite literally changed my life and set me on the course that I'm on right now, because the way that he writes is so profound, so rich, and just draws you so deeply into the richness that we experience in the Catholic Church, the depth of faith, the depth of knowledge and truth that we have access to through the teachings of the Catholic Church. This is somebody who has just opened all of that wide open for me. And I've had the opportunity to meet this person a few times in my life, and I always keep it pretty calm and cool and collected, but my husband completely fangirls every single time. Which, I won't spoil it. I'll show you. But anyways, let me tell you the story. So I reached out through the channels to this person, sent an email to his secretary, and I think she replied something right away with, "We'll get back to you." And I thought, okay. Weeks go by. 2 weeks go by, 3 weeks go by, crickets, nothing. I think at like the 2-week mark, I'd maybe sent an email like, "Hey, just bumping this back up for you." And eventually, 3 weeks in, I get an email that he wasn't going to be able to, that he had a wedding for one of his children this summer and a lot of speaking and a lot of projects. There was just a ton going on and he wouldn't have time. And I thought, of course, like absolutely. This man is incredibly busy. I knew that when I asked, it was a big ask and there's no way it was going to work out. So in one respect, I was like, okay, I totally expected that. But of course, I was so disappointed because it would have been so cool. So I went to Mass that evening. I think I got the email, I don't know, towards the end of the day. Went to Mass that evening. And I was so bummed out. Like I said, I kind of expected it. It wasn't something that I had like placed all my hopes and dreams in. But I was so disappointed. It would have been so cool. So in Mass, I'm praying and I was like, Lord, what do you want me to do? Do we just not have a foreword author? I can't even think of anybody else who would be such a good fit. Should I have none? Who, is there somebody that you have in mind? Who is it? And I'm praying at Mass. And the Lord said to me very clearly, and again, it's not the audible voice. I didn't hear it with my ears. I just, in the silence of my heart, I heard, I've taken you this far and I will not abandon you now. And I thought, okay, wow, Lord, loud and clear. I totally understand. Absolutely. I trust in you. And so kind of, put my disappointment aside. Of course, it's still disappointed, but also very excited for whoever it was that the Lord was going to lead to this book. And kind of, set that thought aside a little bit. I didn't quite forget, but of course the next day, super busy, lots going on. I'm in the middle of a meeting and a phone call from Steubenville, Ohio comes in. No big deal. Steubenville calls me all the time, and they're usually just asking for money. I mean, the first couple of times they called me, I was like, oh my goodness, who's calling from Steubenville? I only know exciting people from Steubenville. And they're like, oh, hi, this is, from the fundraising office or whatever. It's like, oh, wah, wah. Anyways, so I'm pretty sure a fundraising call is coming in. So I send it to voicemail. Calls back. Send it to voicemail. And then I get a text message on my phone as I'm in the middle of this kind of important meeting. And it says, Shannon, this is Scott Hahn. I've read your book and I want to reverse my decision. Let me know if you have time to talk. Something like that. I'm paraphrasing. But I'm in a meeting talking to somebody awesome and important and trying to keep my composure. So wrap up that meeting, run upstairs and shove my phone in my husband's face. I don't even have the words to express this. He's in a meeting. Anyways, so of course, text him back, find a time to call. He called me a little while later to let me know that he had taken the opportunity that morning to take my book to adoration. And as he was reading through it, he was just so incredibly moved that he wanted to change his mind and make time to write the foreword for the book. Totally speechless, right? This is a man who I grew up listening to, who is somebody who I have listened to his audiobooks, his audio studies, on scripture, and read most, if not all, of his books, heard him speak half a dozen times. And here he was on the phone with me, telling me how much he appreciated what I'd written. And his praise was lavish. It was the things that he was saying about my book were exactly all of the reasons why I wrote it. It was everything that I had hoped a reader would get out of it, coming out of the mouth of the GOAT, one of the greatest theologians of all time. Or, as I said in the email, maybe all time is a bit lavish. Definitely the greatest American theologian. Scott Hahn is the GOAT. If you ever read The Lamb's Supper, Rock Your World, Hope to Die, which is one of his maybe lesser known books, but holy cow, if you've ever wanted to understand heaven a little bit better, if you feel like you're a little worried that heaven might be a divine staring contest and you're not sure if that's how you want to spend eternity, Hope to Die. Incredible. There's my copy of it right there. I'll tell you more about these copies in just a minute. But anyways, so that's the news. Here is the cover of the book, my name right next to Dr. Scott Hahn, who, by the way, I have permission to call him by his first name. So you guys, that's the story of how lavish the Lord is. That kind of way of working, the Lord doesn't do in my life very often. Usually the Lord works incredible miracles in my life. He does incredible things, but it's always, kind of like the big work, the long process. It's things that kind of play out over months or years. And then in hindsight, I was like, wow, the Lord really worked that out. Things don't usually happen within 24 hours. So for sure, I know the Lord's hand was in this, and I am so incredibly honored at his words, and cannot wait for you guys to read what he has to say about the book, and for you guys to really dive into this as well. One of the things he said in the foreword was that it was kind of the reinvigoration in, if you know Scott Hahn, you know that he is a faithful devotee of the Rosary. He talks about it almost every single opportunity he has, and it's something that is a major part of his life every single day. He loves Our Lady in the Rosary. And this was something for him that became a reinvigoration. So this book is not just for people who don't love the Rosary, those who are maybe new, want to fall in love with the Rosary. It is for those people. This is for people who don't love the Rosary. This is for people who do love the Rosary. This really is for everyone. And hearing Scott Hahn say that was just an incredible gift from the Lord that I think I'm going to hang on to forever. All right, really quickly, because this is already longer than I intended it to be, I want you guys to know that over the next few weeks, as we get closer and closer to the launch of the book, which is officially October 1st, each Sunday night, we're going to kick off a new giveaway of some books and some other goodies. We've got some great goodies from Hallow that are not books, that are really awesome, from different people who have endorsed our book. So we're going to share a new endorsement and a new giveaway every single Sunday night. But the only way to get entered in to win those giveaways is to join the VIP list. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you have to head over to our website, go to the Way of the Rosary, and join the book launch VIP list. If you are coming to this from the email, at the bottom of the email is the link to get signed up on the VIP list. Because this is going to the whole Choose Life list, but we're going to be sending the giveaway emails only to the VIP list. And the VIP list is going to get all the inside scoop, first dibs on all of the launch products, sneak peek, and so much more. So you're going to want to be on that list for sure. And you're going to want to get signed up to win these two books from Dr. Scott Hahn. And here's the kicker, you guys, both of them are signed. How incredible is that? And my husband definitely fangirled getting Dr. Scott Hahn to sign these books. He brought him a stack like this big. This is from our personal collection of signed Scott Hahn books. But anyways, so excited to share the foreword author with you. So excited to journey just a little bit closer to October 1st, our launch day of The Way of the Rosary, a journey through Scripture, a journey with Mary through Scripture, liturgy, and life by me. Foreword by none other than the G.O.A.T, Scott Hahn. Thanks, guys.